What's up, everybody? We are back with yet another WNBA update. And this episode, we're talking all things WNBA All-Star Weekend. So we'll get into Caitlin Clark's injury. Yes, unfortunately, another one. We'll get into the Portland Fire. They unveiled their new branding. And of course, All-Star Weekend is upon us. We're getting into the three-point contest. We're getting into the skills and drills competition. We're getting into the standout rookies. That's the theme of this All-Star Weekend. And of course, our official picks for All-Star Weekend. So there's a lot to get into. So let's go ahead and get into it. This week's Fast Five on our WNBA Weekly update. Let's start with number one. Portland Fire, the new WNBA expansion team. The Portland Fire unveiled their brand identity on Tuesday, and it was in front of a massive crowd of thousands in downtown Portland, right outside of where the Fire will play starting the 2026 season. The expansion team is ready to reclaim their name in the WNBA. They were previously a team, the Portland Fire, from 2000 to 2002, so let the reignite puns begin. Number two, Caitlin Clark's injury. Yes, unfortunately, we are talking again about a Caitlin Clark injury. She suffered a right groin injury on Tuesday night's matchup against the Connecticut Sun. The Fever did win that matchup, but she came off the court with about 30 seconds left in the game. And we can find ourselves continuing to ask this same question over and over again this season. How will the Fever fare without Caitlin Clark, assuming that they will be without Caitlin Clark after this retweaking of a groin injury that's been nagging her over the last couple of weeks? And additionally, will Caitlin Clark be available for the three-point contest and for the All-Star game this weekend? To be determined. We'll get more into that later on in the show. But let's move on to number three. On the topic of Caitlin Clark, another Caitlin Clark, little mention. She was calling out the referees on Tuesday night's game against the Connecticut Sun. She said that she was going to call the league on a ref for a call that she disagreed with in the Fever's matchup against the Connecticut Sun. Even her brother is out here on social media defending her. So keep bringing the heat, Caitlin. Let's go to number four. Unfortunately, more injury news, and the injury bug continues to bite across the league. Ryan Howard, Atlanta Dream star, sustained a left knee injury during their game against the Indiana Fever on Friday, this past Friday. So she will be out for at least the rest of July. Updates to come there. Last but not least, let's wrap it up with our fifth and final Fast Five story of all things WNBA that you need to know. The Chicago Sky continue to struggle, and this time in kind of historic fashion. So on Tuesday afternoon, a little matinee matchup between the Atlanta Dream and the Chicago Sky. The Dream took down the Sky 86-49. That's only the fourth time in Sky program history that the team scored less than 50 points. Now, to be fair, the Sky were short-handed. They were without Angel Reese, who missed her first game of the season with a left knee injury. But Atlanta was able to do their thing, and Brittany Griner led the team with 15 points. Brianna Jones and Alicia Gray each with 14. The rookie Tina Powell with 13. So the Atlanta Dream just continue to keep chugging along and continue to work their way up in the standings, while the Sky continue to struggle. So there you go. That was this week's Fast Five. We do it every single week. We start every single show with all of the Fast Five stories that you may have missed this past week in the WNBA. So without further ado, let's get into it. It's game time, our four quarters of the week. And this is a very, very special episode of our WNBA updates because we've got a lot to look forward to in this year and this week's All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend is among us in Indianapolis. But before we get into all of the fun that is All-Star Weekend, let's get into a little bit more Caitlin Clark's latest injury. So Caitlin Clark, this entire season, let's go back to preseason when she was out for a couple of preseason games with a quad injury. And then she had that groin injury earlier in the season and then later in the season, and now retweaked that groin injury on Tuesday night's matchup against the Connecticut Sun. So Caitlin Clark has now, going back to preseason, suffered 4 different types of muscle tweaks and muscle injuries that has made her miss time, that has sidelined her, at least for a game, if not portions of a game. So now Caitlin Clark has missed 10 games of the entire season. That is almost 50% of the season. The Indiana Fever sitting at 12-10, 22 total games in the season. Caitlin Clark has missed 10 of them. Now, to be determined, we have yet to find out and yet to hear, as of the time that we're recording this podcast, Wednesday afternoon around 4:30 Eastern time, that Caitlin Clark is still questionable for their matchup tonight on Wednesday night. Also, still TBD questionable for the three-point contest during All-Star Weekend, for the All-Star game. She's team captain. She's questionable for that game. But the Indiana Fever coaching staff have been very open and very honest that they're not going to put Caitlin Clark back out there if she's not 100% healthy. So you can call that media fodder or not. You can say that Caitlin Clark has maybe put herself out there before she's 100% healthy. But whatever it might be, and of course that's all pure speculation, just going off of this injury that continues to set her back and continues to get re-aggravated. So if that continues, if Caitlin Clark continues to have the type of season that she's had, where she's in and then she's out, and then at times when she is in, she isn't playing up to the level that we expect from Caitlin Clark, then what does that mean for this Fever team? I might sound like a broken record here because unfortunately this is a question that we have asked several times throughout the season because Caitlin Clark has been sidelined several times throughout the season. But the Fever sitting at 12-10 and now 6th in the WNBA standings. Without Caitlin Clark, they were able to beat the Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup. But also, without Caitlin Clark, what is the longevity of this team? Now, the most important part here is to see what her status will be for All-Star Weekend. Will they hold Caitlin Clark back on this back-to-back so she can be closer to 100% for All-Star Weekend? Will she even be sidelined for All-Star Weekend? All of that is to be determined, but unfortunately, that has been the story of Caitlin Clark's sophomore season, are these injuries, these nagging injuries that continue to hold her back. Let's move on to the second quarter. Let's get into the All-Star game. It's not fun talking about injuries. Let's talk about the All-Star game. All the action going down this weekend in Indianapolis, in kind of historic moment for the All-Star game and these rookies. I mean, this very much so could be proof that the collegiate level is not only bringing more eyeballs and interest and investment into the WNBA. I mean, we've seen that, right? With Angel Reese and Haley Van Lith and Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin and Rakia Jackson, and the list goes on and on and on. The amount of eyeballs that are on the WNBA because of very loyal fandoms at the college level. But we're also seeing that maybe the college level is developing these players to be standouts in the WNBA earlier and earlier in their careers. Because this is only the fourth time since 2000. So only the fourth time in the last quarter of a century that 3 or more first-year players have earned the honor of an All-Star game bid in the same season. And it's the league's first rookie trio to reach the All-Star status since 2011. So that's Kiki Iriya-Finn of the Washington Mystics, and of course her teammate Sonia Citron, and of course Paige Beckers of the Dallas Wings. Paige Beckers is the lone starter rookie in the All-Star game, and Kiki Iriya-Finn and Sonia Citron are reserves, but all three will earn All-Star game honors. All right, let's take a break. Let's take a little bit of a breather. It's our halftime break, as we do every single week. And it can't be a true, real, and genuine halftime if I don't also mention that the one, the only, Miss Glorilla will be performing at halftime of the WNBA All-Star Game. So those that watch every single week, first of all, we appreciate you. I normally do the show with Cassandra Negley. She is on her way to the All-Star Game. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be there, but Cass, if you're hearing this, if you're listening to me, record the entire thing and send it to me. Please, please, please. Everyone there, enjoy Glorilla's halftime performance. All right, let's move on here into the third quarter, breaking down the three-point contest and the skills and drills competition that'll go down Friday, July 18th, all part of WNBA All-Star Weekend. So that starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's start with the three-point contest. Caitlin Clark, questionable to participate, but She is on the list of participants, potentially. I mean, she is one of the best three-point shooters in the WNBA, even if her 27.9% from three stat isn't the highest in the league. Anyone that has followed Caitlin Clark from her time at Iowa to now knows how lethal she can be pulling up from the logo. So Caitlin Clark is on the list of players expected to participate, but with that tweaked injury on Tuesday night, again, TBD. But moving on, Sonia Citron, a Mystics rookie, making her way out onto the court for three-point contest. She's been shooting about 37% from three. Alicia Gray, Atlanta Dream, dark horse MVP candidate. It's okay. We can say it now. Alicia Gray from the Atlanta Dream. She's shooting just shy of 40% from the three-point line. She won the three-point and skills and drills competition last year. So let's see if she can sweep it up again this year. That is my number one player to watch. Of course, if Caitlin Clark is not able to go, and even if Caitlin Clark is healthy enough to go, Alicia Gray, I think, is going to be one that people are going to want to keep an eye on. Sabrina Ionescu, though, also in the three-point contest. New York Liberty, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the WNBA. Kelsey Plum of the LA Sparks is hitting 36% from beyond the arc. She will be participating in the three-point contest as well. So a lot of star power and a lot of celebrities showing out and showing up for the three-point contest. But my official pick, and I may have alluded to it there, but it's Alicia Gray. I think Alicia Gray is one of the most under-talked about and underrated potential superstars in this league. She should be talked about in the MVP conversation. We should be talking more about the Atlanta Dream, and you see it there. On the box score, you can see it from what she's been able to accomplish this season. She's hitting just shy of 40% from the three-point line. She's experienced. She's been here before. Heck, she's won it before. She swept the whole thing last year. So with the experience and the kind of year that Alicia Gray has been having, she is my pick for the winner of the three-point contest. That is not the only fun competition happening on Friday. Also, the WNBA Skills and Drills Challenge. So think of this as kind of like an obstacle course. There's bounce passes, there's chest passes, there's three-point shots from beyond the arc, there's elbow jumpers, there's corner threes, there's all sorts of fun and funky little drills that'll be out there, and a fun little twist this year is there's going to be a whole car in the middle of the court of the Skills and Drills competition. So we will see New York Liberty guard Natasha Cloud, Seattle Storm guard Skylar Diggins, Atlanta Dream guard Alicia Gray, Seattle Storm guard Erica Wheeler, and Minnesota Lynx guard Courtney Williams all out there on the court for the Skills and Drills competition. So I'm picking Natasha Cloud to take down the field in the Skills and Drills competition. All right, moving on to the fourth quarter. 2025 All-Star Game predictions. If we just want to look up at the rosters here for the All-Star Game, Team Caitlin Clark, Team Nafisa Collier, I'm looking at Caitlin Clark's team. And when you can get Sabrina Ionescu, one of the most lethal shooters, one of the most lethal three-point shooters in this league, with the third pick in the draft, I am automatically going to kind of have my eyes open up a little bit. And then you supplement that with reigning MVP Asia Wilson. You supplement that with Aaliyah Boston, former number one overall pick. I love the team that Caitlin Clark has assembled, but don't sleep on Nafisa Collier. Nneka Ogwumike and Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers coming in with something to prove in her first ever All-Star game. And of course, Breanna Stewart, another one of the best shooters in the WNBA. I have to go here, though, with Team Caitlin Clark. I think that the differences in skill here really, really stands out to me. And of course, she also has Sandy Brondello coaching up that squad. Sandy Brondello, the head coach of the New York Liberty. So that's my official pick, is Team Caitlin Clark. But I'm just ready for a good game. And I'm just ready to have all of this talent, all of these rising stars, all of these under-the-radar stars, and of course, all of these certified superstars out there representing the WNBA. So, of course, the WNBA All-Star Game will be Saturday night in Indianapolis, following up the three-point contest and skills and drills competition on Friday. So keep your eyes peeled for all of that. Those were our four quarters, but it's All-Star Weekend. We have a jam-packed show, way more than just four quarters. So let's head into overtime, because the Portland Fire, one of the newest WNBA expansion teams, just announced their new branding on Tuesday afternoon. Portland Fire had a fan party, a fan parade outside of the Moda Center, which is where the Portland Fire will begin and re-begin, rather, their WNBA play in the 2026 season. The Portland Fire, previously a WNBA franchise from 2000 to 2002. And Portland Fire, they were really kind of holding up to that nickname because it was very hot, so I've been told, in downtown Portland, but the heat did not stop them. There were thousands and thousands of Portland sports fans and Portland Fire fans and Portland Fire legends that made their way out to this fan celebration despite the heat. They were signing autographs. They were, excited for everything that this expansion team has to bring. So excitement for not just this team, but excitement for the WNBA. And the city of Portland is a city that historically has very much so embraced and supported women's sports. So it's great to have Portland in the league. It's great to have the league in Portland, and it's great to have this growing league have so much support, not only from its respective cities, but across the country as well. Investment into this league, and we're seeing it pay off. Here's what to keep an eye on next week. Obviously, it's the All-Star game, but after that, July 22nd, we've got Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever heading on the road to the New York Liberty. That is 8 o'clock Eastern time, again, July 22nd. And the next day, we've got Atlanta and Phoenix, probably two teams that we don't talk enough about. We talk a lot about the Fever and Caitlin Clark, of course. We talk a lot about the New York Liberty, of course. We talk a lot about the Minnesota Lynx sitting at the top of the league. But the Dream and the Mercury are sneakily at the top of the WNBA standings. So it's games like this, games between the Mercury sitting at number 3 in the standings of the league and Atlanta Dream sitting at number 5. Those are the kind of games that can potentially separate legitimate contenders in the postseason from potential pretenders who might fizzle out and fall out in the postseason or even potentially before you get to the postseason. But on July 25th, we've got Phoenix at New York, another great matchup, 7:30 Eastern time. And then July 27th, we've got Atlanta at Minnesota Lynx, 7 o'clock Eastern time. So again, a ton of star power in those games. So we will have a full breakdown and a full reaction to the All-Star game, all of those games that I just mentioned, injury updates, since injuries unfortunately continue to riddle the WNBA, and all other headlines in this league. We'll have a full reaction to that coming up next week. So keep it right here with Yahoo Sports.